The Crescent City Council voted unanimously Monday evening to table 3 proposed ordinances intending to bring the city into line with Martin v. Boise, a recent Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals ruling that says municipalities cannot punish homeless people for sleeping on public property if there's no available shelter for them to utilize. Before opening the floor to public comment on the proposed ordinances, Mayor Blake Inscore explained that the city had received a letter late Friday after the meeting's agenda had been published expressing concerns over the legality of the ordinances. As a result of those concerns, the council was prepared to entertain a motion to table the ordinances and instruct the city's attorneys to revisit them. During a recess, Mayor Inscore had this to say.
Mayor Blake Inscore, can you say anything as to what happened, why you tabled these ordinances tonight?
Yeah, we received a letter that expressed, and I'm really not at liberty to say who the letter came from, but expressed some concerns about the legality of the ordinances and whether or not we were in fact violating law and constitutional rights with the ordinances as they're written. So instead of just going ahead and enacting them and then coming back and the possibility of getting into some kind of litigation over this, the thought was we should double down with legal and our staff and make sure that we've got everything lined up as it should be. And when we're sure of that, then we'll bring them back. That's why we've tabled them as opposed to just continuing to the next meeting, because we may not have those answers in 2 weeks.
Right.
But by tabling it, we're not just shutting this thing down. We're simply hitting pause to make sure we get it right. Because you get one shot at getting this right, especially on a controversial issue like this, and we want to get it right. Because this is one of the things that I keep saying to people. This is not. We didn't address this to try to address homelessness. We addressed this to say we need to update our ordinances and deal with the proper use of public property. And many of those things were from the 80s, and we needed to address these things. But I think a lot of people think that we're just doing this simply because of Martin v. Boise. No, we're doing this because it needs to be done. But Martin v. Boise has forced us to take a look at how we do it to make sure that we're doing it in compliance with the court's rulings. So we want to get it right. Sure. And I just feel like that it's better to take pause and evaluate what you're doing than just to press on and say, well, it's good enough.
Can I ask why you can't say who sent the letter?
I don't know, because we didn't talk about whether or not that was something that we were going to share, and so without having staff and legal say, yeah, go ahead and tell the media who sent the letter. I think that in between now and when we meet again, that information is probably going to be made. We'll probably make some kind of public address of what we're dealing with, because I don't think it's a big secret. It's just I didn't ask that question.
KFUG Community Radio has come into possession of the letter in question sent to the City Council members from the Northern California chapter of the American Civil Liberties Union. In the letter, the ACLU applauds the Crescent City Council's desire to bring city ordinances into compliance with the Boise ruling, but points out several concerns the organization has with the ordinances as written. For example, Ordinance 804, which allows a homeless person to be, quote, sleeping, sitting, or lying down for the purpose of rest, close quotes, in a public place between the hours of 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. is too limiting, the ACLU says, pointing out that preparing a meal or even just standing in place would be in violation of the ordinance and result in a de facto criminalization of homelessness, as defined in Martin v. Boise. In the letter, the ACLU also finds several constitutional issues with the ordinances, citing the Eighth Amendment's prohibition of cruel and unusual punishment, which was a factor in the Boise ruling, and the 14th Amendment's due process clause. Even the proposed leash laws found in Ordinance 804 contradict the Americans with Disabilities Act, the ACLU says. So for now, the ordinances are tabled so that Crescent City's staff and legal team can re-examine their legality, while the public discourse rages on. This Wednesday, April 3rd, Del Norte County Supervisor Roger Gitlin is hosting a town hall meeting at the fairgrounds to discuss this very issue. City staff and council members will be in attendance. For KFUG Community Radio, I'm Paul Kritz.